They tried to destroy you. Oh, they plotted meticulously, ceremoniously, like villains rehearsing for a grand finale that never arrived. They poured their venom into blueprints, into meetings, into whispered alliances. Thought if they cornered you, silenced you, erased the file and burned the footage, it would be over. Simple, clean. But here you are, not erased, not forgotten, multiplied. Like wildfire in the ruins of their failed narrative. They didn't account for what happens when you corner a strategist who's been surviving off instinct and intelligence this whole damn time. See, masterminds don't beg for survival. They build new exits while the ceiling collapses. Antagonists don't fear the story turning against them, they become the plot twist. While they were aiming for your downfall, you were already 5 moves ahead, planting seeds in the shadows, allies in plain sight, and decoys in their blind spots. You weren't running. You were repositioning, quietly, efficiently, letting their arrogance do the heavy lifting. Because you knew the truth, some of us were born to be the thorn in the system's throat. And thorns don't die. They multiply. Now they watch you move calculated, cold, surgical. You've become the legend they were scared to summon. A walking contradiction, calm as a monk, lethal as a warhead. They can't trap you anymore because you no longer need an escape. You're not in their maze. You built your own arena, one where their rules burn like paper in your hands. And oh, how poetic it is, the very ones who tried to bury you now choke on your echo, confused how someone they defeated is suddenly everywhere, every whisper, every room, every scheme outmaneuvered. Let them panic, let them regroup. Because no matter what mask you wear now, villain, shadow, ghost, you've already won. Not by surviving, but by multiplying, quietly, cleverly, unkillable. They thought this was chess. You made it war. While they were counting pawns, you were recruiting legends. You don't just come back, you come back louder, sharper, with versions of yourself scattered like landmines across every battlefield they thought they owned. You became the lesson they refused to study. And now every move they make feels haunted. Every win tastes like a warning, because they know for every trap they set, you've already cloned the map, flipped the floor, and rerouted the consequences straight back to them. They tried to write your ending like a cautionary tale, but instead they lit the fuse to something they can't control. A storm with memory, a villain with vision. You don't crumble, you repurpose. They shattered your name in one corner of the world, and it became a rally cry in 10 others. What they failed to destroy only restructured itself into something more dangerous, more precise. You turned their sabotage into your blueprint, their silence into your signal. And their fear, oh, that became your anthem. Because people like you aren't meant to be removed, we're designed to disrupt. You were never the pawn in their narrative. You were the architect of a counter mythos. And now, when they whisper in rooms you're not in, they're not planning your defeat. They're trying to survive your presence. But it's too late, because you're not just back. You're embedded, duplicated, reinforced in every crack they ignored, every underdog they underestimated, every rule they bent thinking no one was watching. You're not alive just to prove a point. You're here to rewrite the outcome. And this time, you're not coming alone. You're coming multiplied, duplicated in chaos, sharpened by exile, armed with knowledge. They tried to destroy you, but they forgot real masterminds don't vanish. They evolve, they multiply, and then they make the whole system regret ever pulling the trigger. They didn't just fail to kill you, they upgraded you. Every betrayal added another layer to your mind. Every ambush sharpened your response time. Every loss, a disguise for your next form. You're not who you were when they first came for you. No, that version died with the first backstab. What rose from the ashes is something they can't trace, can't predict, and definitely can't handle. You're the storm after the storm, the chaos that walks in smiling when they think it's safe again. Who used to fight to survive. Now you exist to disrupt. You're not the glitch in their system anymore, you are the system crash. Every ally they broke off from you only became a mirror version, stronger, smarter, unhinged in the right way. You don't come with a warning label anymore. You come with consequences, silent ones, surgical ones. And the worst part for them, you don't even need the spotlight. You operate from shadows they didn't know had entrances. You strike without a headline, and by the time they realize it was you, it's already too late. Their plan's a mess. Their foundation's cracked. And you're already on the next battlefield, multiplying again. You didn't survive to be polite. You came back to reconstruct the threat, to become the blueprint for what happens when the villain learns every hero's tactic and builds their own language out of vengeance, precision, and power. They wanted to end you, but all they did was force you to evolve. You're the final chapter they tried to skip, and now the whole book is burning. And the title, I'm Still Here, in every form, and I'm not alone. Let them brace for impact. Let them pray for the old version of you. Because what they face now isn't someone trying to prove a point, it's someone who is the point. Multiplied, masterminded, untouchable. They thought you'd crawl back, broken, quiet, apologetic. But no, what returned wasn't a wounded soul. It was an uprising in disguise. You didn't just rebuild, you reprogrammed. You stopped waiting for justice, stopped begging for clarity, and became the very thing they feared you'd discover: your own power. Unregulated, undocumented, untamed. You're not playing defense anymore. You are the offense. And every time they try to silence you, you echo louder through new voices, new strategies, new versions of yourself that learn to blend in, strike smart, and vanish like myth. You've become a legend with fingerprints in every revolution they failed to trace back. The danger wasn't that you survived, it was that you studied them while they thought you were finished, or observed every weakness, every fake alliance, every smug grin they wore while thinking they'd won. You saw it all, logged it, filed it, and now you use it like ammunition wrapped in elegance. You no longer walk into rooms seeking approval. You walk in knowing the walls bend around you. The same hands that tried to destroy you are now building barriers against you. But it's useless, because you're not a single target anymore. You've scattered yourself like a code they can't decrypt. In every whisper of rebellion, in every wild card plan they didn't account for, you're there. Your blueprint is viral. Your strategy has roots. And your presence? It's no longer about being seen. It's about being felt, deep in their fear, or in their hesitation. in their desperate attempts to predict a future you already rewired. So let them try again. Let them plot. Let them scheme. You've got time, patience, and infinite reflections of yourself waiting in the wings. Because masterminds don't beg for survival. They build empires out of collapse. And antagonists, we don't die. We replicate. We turn destruction into data, pain into performance, and failure into fire. You weren't supposed to make it. And now they're realizing you weren't supposed to stop. They keep searching for the version of you they destroyed, digging through ruins, scanning for weakness, hoping to find that cracked shell they once celebrated conquering. But that version's long gone, erased, replaced, upgraded beyond recognition. What stands now is a culmination of every scar, every betrayal, every exile. You're not a person anymore, you're a phenomenon. You don't walk into their stories, you rewrite the plot on contact. They aimed to cut the head off the snake, and instead, they triggered the rise of the hydra. One head down, three more smiling in its place. And now their hands shake when your name enters the room. Not because they remember what they did, but because they remember how you responded. Not with noise, not with panic, but with precision. While they were busy dancing on your grave, you were beneath their feet, digging tunnels, building corridors, planting versions of yourself into every flaw in their foundation. You didn't come back with revenge. You came back with replication. You learned the rules just to break them better. They don't even know who to target anymore. Every face you've touched carries the blueprint now. Every voice that once echoed yours now speaks in the same rhythm. You've multiplied through memory, through momentum, through madness that makes sense only to those who've lived through fire and refuse to come out clean. You don't even have to move loud anymore. Your stillness causes tremors. Your smile, a countdown they can't hear until it's too late. They tried to destroy you, but all they did was give you a reason to divide and conquer. To become the shadow in every surveillance frame, the anomaly in every pattern, the reason their strategies keep falling apart. You're no longer trying to prove you're alive, you're showing them that what they tried to kill now lives in too many forms to stop. And that's the real horror for them. You didn't just survive. You escaped the narrative. And now you bend it, break it, and rebuild it in your image. Masterminds don't die. Antagonists don't beg. And legends? We don't end. We multiply. And we wait for the perfect moment to remind the world exactly who created the storm they thought they were safe from. Your legion, your legacy. And you are never going to die politely. You'll live in the cracks, multiply in the silence, and rise again and again as the proof that some storms can't be stopped, only survived. Like, comment, and subscribe.